Hello, 99 Army, boys and girls, and welcome back to another bi-weekly or bi-monthly story. Either way you look at it, one of those two sayings is correct with the frequency in which I upload these storytime videos. Now, today I am going to talk about the weirdest workday I've ever had. Now, this happened a few weeks ago at the current job I have now, but I need to give you all some context before I get into the story. So, I work at a local factory from 7 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, and I help make wheel covers. They're not called hubcaps, they're called wheel covers. Anyway, so I help make those, I help mold those, and we have these presses and these molds that we put in the presses that when we put material in there, it molds a part that will eventually get painted. Now that that's all out of the way, I can fully explain the story. So, this happened the Friday before Memorial Day. So, thankfully, I had 3 days to just kind of soak it in and just kind of put this behind. So, I walk into work that Friday morning, and initially everything seems fine. You know, we come in, relieve third shift, do whatever. And apparently they were going to change the mold on my press. But unfortunately, they got the mold press change, or the mold change, wrong. And it took them a while to get the mold in there because those molds weighed a couple tons. I'm not sure if they weigh more than that, but they're not light. We have to have this huge dolly system and kind of like this crane system there, move them back and forth to where they are located in the factory. So it's not like 5 minutes later we can have a mold changed. No, it takes a while. So the mold is in the press before they realize that it's the wrong mold, and so in the meantime I'm sent to help quality look at some parts, which I have done before, so I know what I'm doing up there. And in the middle of doing that, at like 8 or 8:30, the lead on our shift comes and gets me and says, "Hey, we need you to relieve this person that, or not relieve, but we need you to help this person out that's behind." It's like, okay. And mind you, they were in their first week at this time. So, of course, they're not going to be the best at their job right away. And I helped them out. And then we don't all go to break at the same time, because we will have 7 or 8 presses running at the same time with almost always one person running each press. So it's a pain to shut all the presses down at one time. So since I wasn't doing anything else, I gave a couple of breaks, which we take a 10-minute break, then a lunch break, then another 10-minute break. So I was helping give a couple of 10-minute breaks, and then everything goes down. All the presses go down because something went wrong with the vacuums or the stuff that feed the material to the machines or something. I'm not quite sure. I didn't get a straight answer. But I know they went down. And meanwhile, they haven't changed my mold in my press yet. And we don't always go to the same press every day, mind you. So this is not one that I worked at yesterday or the day before. This was not one I worked on Tuesday after Memorial Day. But anyway, so well, pretty much all the presses go down except for like one or two. And one of my bosses tells me to let the person that's running the press go to lunch. So I let him. And after that, I went to my lunch. And in the middle of me going to lunch, my press was fired up. And it got fired up at like 11:15. And the lead covered me for the 5 or so minutes that it was up. Because I didn't know they were going to put it up while I was at lunch. Well, I kind of knew, but I told the lead about that. So then, at about 10 till, or like 10 till or a quarter till 12, all the presses go down again, which is fantastic. And then everyone goes to break again, which I'm not gonna lie, some people took the liberty of taking more than 10 minutes, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of part of that group. But there was nothing running, so I'm sorry, place of work, if you watch this. Yes, I did take a little bit more than 10 minutes. I'm sure everybody did. But anyway, after that, we all just kind of cleaned. We all wiped down some presses. I mopped some oil that was next to some presses because one of the higher ups was complaining about it. So it's like, okay, I'll do it. I don't mind. It just kills time anyway. I mean, I was going to be there for the next, like, 3 hours at that point anyway. So why not kill a little bit of time and be productive? And at about quarter to 2, they went back up. All the presses went back up. And then at about 2:30, they all went back down again. I still don't quite know why they kept going down and back up, but it's just I didn't like it. And pretty much everyone else was told to go home except for me on in the department that I work in, and that's because they needed the part that I was running the next day. It's funny that a truck would come and pick up parts the Saturday before Memorial Day, but I'm not really here to question it. I'm just here to tell a story. But I was told to stay, and I left at 3 o'clock. Normally we stay to 3:30 in order to get the full 40 hours a week, and we just clean in that time, which we have to stay and get the full 40 hours. I know someone's thinking, well, wait, that's just 8.5. They take the half-hour lunch out of our paycheck. And I asked one of my bosses, I was like, hey, do I leave at 3 or 3:30? It was like 3, so that's why I left at 3. Anyway, so even though all the presses went down, I stayed, and they were able to produce some parts while I was still there, because one of the maintenance guys who does the mold changes and fixes all the stuff and all that was pouring material into the press so that it could continue to run. So I think there was something off about the material again. I'm not 100% sure, but knowing that, I would venture to guess that that was the case. And then I went home and I was like, well, this was an eventful day. And by the way, we have worked at least a limited production at work since that weekend after. So tomorrow will be a limited production. The weekend before was full production. And then the Saturday before was limited production. Now, what I mean by that is limited production is not like a normal workday. Limited production, and this was just for Saturday, mind you, the 3 days. Limited production is just a few people. There's like 12 people on the shift that I'm on, and I think only 4 people worked a couple of weeks ago, and then all 12 people worked last Saturday, and then 5 people are working tomorrow. I didn't have to work in limited production, but in full production, yes. But it is what it is. That was the weirdest work day I've ever had. And so yes, guys, I do believe that will do it for this storytime video. And until the next storytime video, I will see you all later. Goodbye, guys. Thank you all for watching.